up, guys? My name's Adelis. So I was noticed just looking around at different like Shaman stuff on YouTube. There's not a lot of raid guides for Shaman. There's a lot of Mythic Plus guides. There's not a lot of like in-depth raid guides into rotation and shit. So I thought I'd make one. Look at my logs and stuff. I got pretty decent logs, I think. I've only played it for Nathria and this tier, and I played it a lot of Mythic Plus and BFA, but no raid experience in BFA. So I'll go over talents, Soulbinds, mainly Necro. I know a little bit about Knife. If you're anything else, I guess carrying in my I don't think there's anything else for Elemental Shaman. I'll go over Legos, what I think the best trinket are, stat weights, but disclaimer, those are different for everyone. You're better off just simming them, but I'll just give you my preference if that helps you. But again, just sim your character on Simulation Craft or with raid bots, however you want to do it. I'll go over rotation and opener, and if you want to watch just me doing my rotation in raid, you can go see my Eye of the Jailer kill. I Parser 97 on it in Mythic. You can go to that, watch that if you just want to see it, and just see what it looks like. You can go there. My Twitch is twitch.tv/Adelis. Go check it out. I stream whenever, I guess. So first thing we'll go over here for Elemental Shaman is the talents, right? We'll go over the talent tree. So first row, always Echo the Elements. Nothing else, really. Elemental Blast, always. If you're going like someone like Soul Render, you can go Aftershock if you want. Spare Wolf or Urshield, you can go either one. I go Spare Wolf because Urshield is just another thing to maintain, and I don't enjoy the way it's played. So it's not really played anyway. You just keep it up as much as you can, but that bothers me, so I don't just go Spare Wolf. Master the Elements or Storm Elemental, always master the elements. You can go Storm Elemental on like Soul Render if you wanted to. Nature's Guardian, any of these three, Nature's Guardian, Ancestral Guidance, Renderous Totem, they're all good, but generally you're probably going to see yourself using Renderous Totem if your like raid lead tells you to. Most of the time he's going to. If not, just I'd go with Nature's Guardian. You can go AG if you want another button to click, I guess. If you're newer, you can go Primal Elementalist. If you've been playing for a little bit, just go Ice Fury because you'll probably end up going it anyway. So the sooner you learn how to use it, the better. It's not like overly complicated. It adds a little bit more complexity, I guess, for lack of a better word. So either one's fine here. Stormkeeper, always. I wouldn't go anything else. Just those. Just Stormkeeper. So just a reiteration. Echoes, Elemental Blast, Spare Wolf, Master, Nature's or Rend Rush, or AG. Always Stormkeeper. So those are your talents. And then we'll go over Soulbinds. So for like cleave scenarios, I'm going Hymir. This shit's fucking dog shit. It just does like no damage on anything. It's so fucking undertuned. It's insane. So yeah, it's just I don't like it. It's fucking poop. Even on single target, I haven't seen it go over 1% of my damage. Just to put it into how fucking bad it is. I don't. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe like some mathematician will come in the comment section and lay it on me, but I think it's fucking dog shit. This sims. I actually go Margalith now. It sims 177 higher than Hymir for me in single target, and then you also get the mastery buff. They changed it so you're a humanoid, so it just always gives you mastery because you're a humanoid. So you'll always get 136 mastery, which equals out to like 6 or 7%, I think. And then generally for conduits, you're always gonna go Call of the Flame. That will always be in your potency slot. Never not have it in your potency slot. And then you can go between like Pyroclastic or your Covenant one, but in this case, I'll have all three. I use this for PvP, but I haven't changed it. So I'd go like Astral Protection. It's a nice thing to have because you'll have Ancestral Shift when you incarn, which is nice to have. So maybe you got to spawn somewhere kind of like nasty or somewhere gross where you don't want to because you're gonna take damage. You'll spawn with a 40% damage reduction, which is nice. This sims a lot higher, obviously, 6%. So I mean, I don't know if this in Sinful stack, but if it does, you get 12%, which is fucking ginormous. Emily, you're not. I don't think you'll really play this tier. You saw some of it in Sludge Fist, right? Because it's on demand. It gets you intellect buff. But there's really nothing like that I can think of. So generally, I think it's just going to be Plague and then this for Cleave. So yes. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it for Soulbinds and Conduits. Cleave, Shake the Foundation sims really nicely. If you want a little bit more single target, you can go one of these. But this is my Cleave tree now, so this is what I go. Shake the Foundations, and then here, just boom, boom, boom. And now Trinkets. We'll go to Trinkets. Edmund Solvice is fucking Gigabytes, bro. Grab that shit. It's really fucking good. Get it. Get it. Really, please. It's really fucking good. Thank me later. Tome. I like it. I think it's good. It's a little annoying because it doesn't say up through death. That'd be a nice thing, change of life. What do they call it? Quality of life change, I think. Yeah, it'd be good quality of life change. Just stays up on your target constantly. So I would go with that if you have it. But if you're on either jailer where you're not gonna have that 95% uptime, then just go something like the Visible Ooze. These are my 3 favorite raid talents. Raid trinkets. These are my favorite raid trinkets. Correction. I'm always running these. You could run something like Soul Letting, or you could run Changeling. If you can keep yourself high up on health, Ocular Gland is not bad. Soleil's is another good one. I think it's simming pretty similar to Ocular Gland without the loss of your stats, or the stat, I guess, the buff. So Soleil is another trinket you could possibly look out at farming. And then for Dom sockets, Unholy. I mean, the only one I think that could possibly sim somewhat closer to that is, I haven't looked at the buffs of August 3rd on Simcraft. So I would just say Unholy. I'm not going to recommend anything else because I'm not sure. So just go Unholy. Get that shit to rank 5. Okay. Going on to stat rates. Big disclaimer. Download Simulation Craft. Sim your character. See what you need. See what you don't. Go to CurseForge. Download CurseForge. Go to WoW. Get Simulation Craft. Put it in the game. CurseForge will put it in the game automatically. Log in. Do /simc. Oops, that was not a good example. There you go. Control-C, go to raidbots.com, go to Top Gear, put that in. Go to StatWeights, put that in. Control-V that in. And you will have your you'll have your answers there to what gear sim's higher for me, what trinket sim's higher, But generally, if I could have my ideal StatWeights, I like 20%-ish crit, obviously you can see. Haste, if you're not playing Ice Fury, I don't think you really need anything super high. Between 20 and 15% haste is fine. If you're not playing Ice Fury, 15 to 20% is fine. If you're playing Ice Fury, I generally recommend anything from 20 to 25% because I feel like you need it. That's just me. Correct me if I'm wrong. Wait, you don't need to. You can just go look on Simcraft. But for Mastery, if you like running Naya, you probably don't need as much because you're always getting that constant uptime from Naya. Or Margalith, like I am, you can forego it because you'll always have 100% uptime because even if the shield breaks, you will still keep the buff. So, as long as you're doing it off cooldown, you will have more or less 100% uptime. And then, tertiary stats like Leech and Avoidance, just nice to have. Verse, you always want 15-ish, 12-ish, around there. That's 15. But again, just semi-crafted, but, I just like knowing a general idea of what the person that's playing the class likes. That's just me. I've always asked streamers that. And I always hate when they're like, just go sim it. So I'm just giving you what I think I would want to hear if I was watching this video. But again, disclaimer, just go sim yourself because 9 times out of 10 that's always going to be better. Not probably even 10 times out of 10 it's going to be better. But I just thought I'd throw that in there for the sake of throwing it in there for what it's worth. And then Legos, we'll go over Legendaries right now. Some Legendaries. I don't see Skybreakers being very good, on Council of Blood, for fucking progression for Elemental Shaman. If you weren't trying to pad the meters, Skybreakers was very good. If you're padding the meters, we all know what fucking Legendary we're using. Great Sundering. But I don't really see any of that being super good. Even on the 9 like after those first two fucking things die, the ad dies giga fast. So like you're better off just using the Great Sundering or just using Lava Burst. So you know that too. The Lava Burst Thunder, which is Wind Speaker, which sucks because Wind Speakers is gated behind like a fucking World Boss that comes once a month, which is super fucking dumb. They should change that, but whatever. Yeah, so those are the two legendaries I would recommend this year for this raid are Echoes of the Great Sundering and Cloak of the Wind Speaker. Wind Speaker's Lava Resurgence. So for the opener, there's a couple nuances that I have found that have increased my DPS. I mean, we'll go over the opener after I go over these little nuances. So let's say, no, okay, we'll go over like the priority list first of like what you want to empower your Master of the Elements buff, which is important. So if you don't know what that is, every time you cast Lava Burst, your next Nature, Physical, or Frost spell gets 20% increased damage, right? So the list goes like this. Get a pen and paper. Stormkeeper, always want to empower both charges. Earthshock, like 90-95% of the time, as much as humanly possible, like 90-95% of the time, get that shit empowered. Now, if you're not playing Ice Fury, then obviously the next one would be Elemental Blast, right? And then, obviously, if you're playing something like, I guess if you're playing Echoes with Master of the Elements, it'd go Light or Stormkeeper, the Great Sundering, Earthshock, and then like Elemental Blast, right? Now, if you're playing Ice Fury, we'll get into that. So, for Ice Fury, it's gonna go like this. If you're playing Great Sundering, it's gonna be Stormkeeper, Great Sundering proc, Earthshock. Now, the actual cast of Ice Fury or Elemental Blast, you're going to go with Elemental Blast. Now, the actual, like the procs you get from Ice Fury, so the Ice Fury procs, the 300% for for Frost Shocks, you're going to go with the Frost Shocks over the Elemental Blast, right? So, that might be a little confusing. So, like, this is what I mean when I say the actual casting. I mean this right here. The actual casting of this. You're going to want to empower Elemental Blast over the actual casting of Ice Fury, right? And now, if you're going to empower... If you have Frost Shock, so let's say I still have those Frost Shock procs. I don't know where the fuck they went. That was really weird. So, let's say I have my empowerment here, right? My 20%. Am I going to cast Ice Fury or Elemental Blast? I'm going to cast Elemental Blast over the Ice Fury. Now, let's say I have my Ice Fury procs and my Elemental Blast. I'm going to empower my Frost or my Ice Fury procs over my Elemental Blast, right? So, there, it's up now. So, I'm going to cast EB instead of Ice Fury, which is Elemental Blast. Now, let's say I have another one. And now I have we'll say I have my Frost procs, right? So I have Elemental Blast or my procs going. I'm going to go with my procs over my Elemental Blast, right? So just like a little nuance, right? So that's the priority list that I think works well. That's what I use. And so far, it's looking pretty good on my log. So it's working. So now, let's say you're just, so like right here, for example, right? This is another nuance that I've noticed, at least that I do. So I got in the habit of casting my Windspeaker's proc immediately into IF, but if you look, IF doesn't like do a fuck ton, right? The 1700 plus 20%, that's like less than a lightning bolt. Now, if I cast Ice Fury before I cast a Lava Surgeon's proc, and now I have this and I cast this, I'm doing 4,000 to 5,000. Right, it's worth after your Earthshock to hold that Lava Burst proc, cast Ice Fury, then after you cast Ice Fury, Lava Burst, Frost Shock, because it's gonna do more damage. That's another little nuance that I use of the class. So wait for everything to come off cooldown. I'll drop some Maelstrom here, and I'll show you the opener. The opener is gonna go like this as we're rating, right? So pool 10, 5 seconds Stormkeeper. 3-ish, 4-ish seconds, like 4 going into 3 seconds, you're gonna use your elemental, your storm or fucking whatever it is, fire, and then you're going to cast elemental blast at about 2 seconds, right? Now, as a Necrolord, you're gonna after that Elemental Blast goes out, you're gonna cast your Trinket, if you have one, and your Necro Wave, right? And then you're gonna cast a Lava Burst, and then you cast Stormkeeper, then Lava Burst, then Earthshock, then Lava Burst from the Earthshock proc, and then you're gonna cast Stormkeeper charge number 2, right? Now, if you're not a Fae or something else, you're gonna Elemental Blast into Lava Burst. Now, as you're casting that Lava Burst, spam the fuck out of Flame Shock. So when that Lava Burst goes out, Flame Shock will go out instantly after because the GCD should already be up because it's a 2 second, or it's like a 1.7 second cast time, right? Yeah, 1.6. So the Flame Shock will get there before the Lava Burst, and the Lava Burst will be empowered from the Flame Shock. You'll get the 100% buff. So as long as Flame Shock is on the target, Lava Burst will always crit, right? And Flame Shock travels faster than Lava Burst. Kind of like Frostbolt and Deflurry for Frost Mages. I'm pretty sure that's how that works for them. So that's how it's going to do if you're not Necrolord. And then obviously you'll do your Trinket too after you cast that Flame Shock. So this will be the opener. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to do a pool 10, and you'll see. I'll use the pod as well for fucking effect. All right, so pool 10, and then just watch.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, overcast. Not the greatest thing. I kind of figured I would once that Elemental Blast overloaded. But like generally, as long as it's not like it's like 5 overcap, it's not like too bad. But that probably wasn't 5. Yeah. So like with the Earthshock, if Lava Burst is like is more than a 1.5, 1.3 second cooldown, and just send the Earthshock. Don't wait, right? Because in that like 1.3 you can cast a lightning bolt and be fine, but if it's like longer than 1.5, just send the Earthshock. There's no point in waiting for a Lava Burst. But yeah, that's my rotation. Hopefully that helped you, and you saw some of those nuances. Just use everything on CD as much as you can, and when you get like better at it, you'll feel like sometimes when you're newer with IF, you'll hold your Stormkeep a little bit to get rid of those charges first, and that's fine. But when you get a little bit better, more comfortable, you can kind of see what's going to come, and you know like your GCDs and what you can or can't fit in. You can start like just using all this shit on cooldown like as soon as it comes up, kind of a little bit, like more or less. That's generally like how my rotation goes. For a better look at it, like I said, you can go to twitch.tv. On one of my highlights, you'll see Eye of the Jailer kill, orange bars. That's the title. You can go check it out if you want a better idea. Like even I made a bunch of silly mistakes there, especially at the end. But yeah. And then also like when you lost, like blue opener with lost too, just show you like you'll run out of shit really fast with lost. Like none of like your big Maelstrom generators won't be off cooldown because you'll have a lot of haste. So like I'll show you what I mean because I'm not really good at explaining it, but you'll see it like if you watch. So like ooh, dude, I'm gonna look at that. So like you see what I mean? See, like you can cause, you get to cast Frost Shock there. But you see what I mean? Like, now I'm just back to casting lightning bolts because all this shit. You have like a lot of haste, right? So you go through it a lot faster. And in this overload, you'll be alright. But you get what I'm saying here, like because you have this much haste, it'll kind of you'll go through it a lot faster than if you don't list on pool. So that's just something to be aware of. In case you figure out, like, oh no, I'm fucked up somewhere. It's just with a lot more haste, obviously you go through your shit a lot faster, as I'm sure with any class. That's my guide. Hopefully you like it. Hopefully someone watches it, even if like 2-5 fucking people watches and like, okay, I get it now. It'll be worth it. So there's not a lot of raid guides out there. There's a lot of topping the meters and like do big damage in Mythic Plus, which is nice. But if you play the class at raid, play this bucket of raid and not for like your Mythic Plus Giga Chad, then like there's really not a lot out there. And if there are, they're very fucking vague. So or they're outdated as fuck. So that's my guide. Hopefully it helps, and hopefully I don't think anything's really wrong with it, to be honest. But maybe there's some chads out there that can point me in the right direction. But hopefully you enjoy it. Have a good day. Get out there and top the meters with what you learned, I guess, if you learned anything.